Hi, my name is Nathan Atkins. Thank you for coming to my blog, Building TechCom, a space for new technical communicators and mentors in the field to come together and learn a little bit about each other. Well, who am I, and why have I done this project? Those are fair questions, and I'm going to take a little bit of time to informally answer them in a very relaxed setting. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where I was born, but I was raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'll tell you why that's important later. But where I live right now is Atlanta, Georgia, down here in the South. I work in the TCOM field primarily as a content specialist for a firm called Invoiceware. I am involved in instructional design, inward and outward facing documentation, training documentation, basic tech writing, user manuals, content manuals, and technical guides, to say the least. I do some marketing communication for them, and currently we're working at building brand and content strategy, single sourcing, and content management systems. That's a lot. And what I've noticed with this first job in the field for me is that there's a lot of unanswered questions that you really have to cut your teeth on to get the answers for. And that can take some time. What I've also noticed, especially when I got my degree in technical communication at age 35, is that a lot of people in this field are coming into it as adult learners, as a second career. And they don't really have the time, myself included, to cut our teeth, to really learn in the trenches. We need to learn fast. And I found the best way to do that is as a cohort, as a group. And so I wanted to create this community to do just that. How did I know that I was a technical communicator? That's a good question. A lot of people ask me that a lot. I think I was unconsciously incompetent at what I did when I was young, but I very quickly became very good at technical communication without knowing that that is what I was doing. And that really started when I began to enjoy in school primarily helping other people learn. We would have an instructor that might teach us biology or chemistry. And I always had a knack of taking what they taught us and making the chaotic nature of it, or the unknown nature of it, very intuitive for the folks that I would study with. That translated very well when I became a salesperson at Radio Shack. We would frequently have people come into the store with honest questions, sometimes very fearful of electronics and the new modern world that was beginning to happen. With cordless phones and cellular phones and the like, networking, home networking, stereo systems, you name it. They would come in with a lot of questions, and they would have generally tried to get those questions answered somewhere else, say Best Buy or on the internet when it was burgeoning back at the turn of the century. And I would be able to just have a natural knack of, number one, calming them down and getting them focused on the message of what they needed. And secondly, being able to explain what they needed in terms that made sense to them. I was naturally good at audience analysis. I was naturally good at rhetoric. I was naturally good at making people make behavior decisions that were beneficial to them and what were really coming into my store to do. That translated into a management career where I started doing not just the outward-facing message to the folks that came in with questions, but also training other people how to do that and training those people via the same mechanisms that I naturally did for the customer. So when I left that career, let's face it, we've all done retail at one point in our lives, and it's a rough job, a lot of hours. I left it, and I had two main questions in my life. Was I doing what I wanted to do with my life? Was I impacting other people in a meaningful way for them and gaining a sense of community by doing so? How could I do that? So I did a lot of soul searching and a lot of research, and it came about that I found our occupation. I found out that there is an entire business an entire world dedicated to taking the chaotic and the complex and making it an intuitive, simple message for people. And that really spoke to me. So I went and I got a degree in that wonderful field, and from right immediately after that degree, I got a job in instructional design, and then migrated from instructional design more to what I do now. But there was something else missing, and what I found, much as I talked about earlier, is that there really wasn't a community. When you go out and you look for technical communication blogs, you find them, but it's generally mentored or folks talking about very specific high-level topics like Jekyll and DITA and all these wonderful things that are coming down the pike, but that are still just out of reach, I feel, for the newer members of the technical communication field. There wasn't a place for people to come together who were new to the field, who are vital to our field, the people that are going to carry it to those next generation things. To come together and in a place where we don't have to worry about judgment, in a place that we don't have to worry about making the cut, so to speak. We can all learn together, and hopefully we can learn from the mentors that are out there in the professional field doing these things that we need to learn so vitally and so quickly. So thank you again for coming. I hope that this community is a place that you can feel at home to ask questions. I hope that the posts that I put out there are relevant. I encourage you to go to the contact page and submit topics that you would like to see me talk about and start community discussions about. And I think this is going to be a really grand experiment, and I look forward to being better along with everyone else.